gentlemen, to another episode of Them Browns Living Life for Ya. We wanted to come to you today just to talk to you a little bit about some things that we wish we would have had done in year one. Year one, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of times when you have couples that they have been married for a little while, they look back over the years that they were actually married and wish things would have had been done better. So me and my wife want to talk to you a little bit about some things that we wish we would have done and what we're going to do moving forward. So baby, talk to them a little bit.
So welcome again, everybody, to our 36-year marriage series. We're going to make a little small series out of this. And as he stated, our series is going to be about what we wish we would have known and understood in year one or after year one. So I will tell you this, year one, you can't pack 36 years into 1 year. So I'm going to go ahead and say that now. But there were very important things that we did not necessarily know or understand in our year, our year one. And I've often heard people say 6 years is the year where you can just kind of relax. You know, you kind of have gone through a lot of things, the meshing in of marriages. So the purpose, though, is we get a lot of, when people find out we've been married for 36 years, we got married and I was 19 and he was getting ready to turn 19 3 weeks. Well, it wasn't even 3 weeks. It was a week prior. We got married. And so a lot of people go, oh man, you guys got married so young. And I think one of the number one questions that I kept being asked, are you sure you know what you're doing? No, we ain't know what we were doing.
All right. One of the questions was, is she pregnant?
Oh yeah, no, I was not pregnant. So we're gonna talk about the 4 F's. So there were the 4 F's that we kind of summed it up to be. And that is, you have to deal with the faith, you have to deal with family, finances, and your future self while standing in your present self. And so we're going to, I don't know how long we're going to make this particular video. We may have to do a part 2, but I want you to understand this is about our journey and what helped us, what we had to grow through and grow up through. And I'm going to be honest, these are principles that, first of all, we do believe in the Bible. We believe in every word of the Bible.
Yes.
But we're not here to preach to you. We're here to tell you that those practical ideas of living from the Bible is what helped us. It saved us. But we're going to talk about some practical things. So I think the first one, what do you want to start with?
Let's start with what you started off with, faith.
All right.
Let's start with faith. Just coming up. Of course, we both grew up in the church. Actually, that's where we met at our home church. And we started dating the beginning of our 10th grade year.
Off and on.
Yeah, and like she said, we've been married 36, going on 37 years, and we got married a year after high school. But when it goes to my faith, and I know we can't take anything back. We can only just improve moving forward. But I wish I would have been deeper into my studies with my faith, because just as my wife was saying, that we are strong with the Bible and we walk in the truth of the Bible. And that actually, if you go back, Yahweh had actually ordained. He's the one who made marriage. So he wrote the book of marriage. So I wish in my faith I would have been stronger. I do thank him for the knowledge that I did get along the way. But when it comes to my faith, I believe if I was stronger, a lot of things that I had made for as mistakes, I probably would have had avoided them because I would have known better. Instead of assuming things, I would have known things. So on my part, when it comes to faith, I wish my faith was stronger. I wish I would have known more of the word and truth. But in that, like I said, you can't move back, you move forward. It allowed me to actually pick up to teach my kids what I wish I would have had done instead of actually just just letting it sit there and nothing be done about it.
Yeah. As far as I am concerned with the faith, I grew up in church now, and I will say, just because you grew up in church doesn't make you a believer.
That's right.
Just because you grew up in church doesn't make you a Christian. I always say, just because you stand in the garage doesn't make you a car. So I grew up with what I understood, being shown the way with, my grandmother took me to church. She is the one who introduced me to, the Savior. She introduced me to, the Bible, things of that sort. But, fast forward, this is the one about faith. I did not really start to grow up and mature in my faith until many years later, but I always kept those principal things to my heart. And so when we got married as young as we did, one thing that I had to always do is be true to myself. And I believed in treating my spouse the way I want to be treated. I believe in dealing with me. Because y'all, let's be honest about it. Sometimes it's so easy to talk about what our spouse isn't doing right. It's so easy to talk about what we wish they could do. And we don't take time to look at our own selves. Because believe it or not, sometimes we can trigger our spouse, or our spouse triggers us. And you have to sit down and figure out, what is this about? First of all, you got to know that you really want to be together. And your faith is what's going to be your foundation and your driving force. So in our first year, I wish that even though we went through some of the very basic marital counseling, I wish that we would have realized how much our faith should have shaped our marriage, the foundation for it. And so for me, it was a thing of that had to be established as individual people. And then because you didn't grow, you weren't married when you first got on this earth and grew up. But we began our faith walk separate from our spouse. And when we come with our spouse, if we don't take that seriously, that can become a clash and cause conflict. And I will say, if you are true to your faith and you truly, truly believe in it, it's not going to be easy for you to change it. And so I don't get into religion, because there's a difference between religion and following the Bible. And so for me, we grew up in the same faith, the same belief. But here again, growing up in something and applying it are two different things. And so it's a thing of, you have to be honest with yourself. Okay, so what do you believe about marriage? What do you believe about fidelity in marriage? What do you believe about raising children? Do you guys have the same beliefs in raising children? Because I promise you, even in raising children, there could be conflict, because you grew up one way and believe that discipline and all these things should be handled one way, whereas your spouse grew up one way and believed discipline and all those things should be handled another way. So our faith had to be our driving force, our foundation, our guiding force for us, even in trying to rear our children, who, thankfully to Yah, the Most High, our children are grown now. And we are first year, well, this is her second, she's 2 now, grandparents. Mm-hmm. And we have some bonus granddaughters that we are thankful for as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, for the faith, be real with yourself. If faith is something that's a part of your marriage, because I'm going to be honest, it's not a part of some people's marriage. They don't really care about that. But for us, that was the substance. That was the glue that held us together, because we all know you can love somebody and then be mad with them in the same instant. And there has to be some type of moral principles and values that you two agree on and that you are committed to. Because I knew if he knew how to honor the Father, he knew how to honor me. If I knew how to honor the Father, I knew how to honor him. And it was that important, because he is the architect of marriage. That is what this whole thing about is being coming unto the Most High, that we join into a marriage. And so it's a symbolization of what is happening and what is to come with those who are truly the bride. So anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, I think, because I know we're not going to be able to hit everything. Mm-hmm. And again, we just wanted to share some of our background with the topics that we will be actually talking about. But for now, I can say that Faith, what we had taught, should give the people a good start to see where it's at. But at the end of the day, what I can say is just make sure that you put the Most High first, because He is the author of marriage, and that's what a lot of people do. They don't. They get excited about getting married, but then when they say "I do," they leave Him at the altar. They go about their way and wonder why the marriage is not working, because you left the author of it at the altar and you went about doing what you wanted to do. So my advice to everyone is to make sure you put Him first, because He is the one that will tie all loose ends together. So when it comes to faith, I can say that's what I would actually say. So if with that being said, if nothing else, we'll go to our next topic, and that's family. Family. My family, oh my goodness, is my heart, my world. For any man that's the head of their household and is following the Most High, that's your first ministry right there, is your family. And a suggestion that I can give to anyone, because when you have a lot of men that are in the faith, when I say faith, because a lot of them say that they're in it and it doesn't look the same. Your family is your first ministry. So it doesn't look right when you're out and you're trying to pour into others when your household is not right itself. So you want to be able to pour into your house, your family, to build that strong foundation, instead of you actually going out trying to build one and your house not even standing where you lay your head at. So when it comes to family, family is very important to me. I am big on family, because I am the one that when I asked of her hand and I asked her in marriage, and again, in the beginning, things you're learning. I mean, because you don't know. We was two different people with two different personalities, and we just had to actually learn each other. And it took, just like you said, we tell people, because we are counselors, and we tell people 5 to 6 years, you should be able to get on that road while it's not so rocky, because you're learning each other. You're actually having the opportunity of knowing how she like her food, or how she like, does she come home and do certain things. We're learning each other, the do's and don'ts, because we all, before marriage, we had our own personality and had our own space. So when you ask that person hand in marriage, you come together, it's no longer as an individual. You all are a couple. So to actually build that house, you got to build it together. And like she said, in the first few years, it's going to be rocky, but you got to have in your mind that I'm willing to stick for the long haul. You can't just so easily have the mindset to want to walk away when things don't go your way and everything. You got to want to be in it for the long haul. So when it comes to family, I don't only love my family, I'm a protector of my family. I am one to like to pour into my family with wisdom, financially, and just being there to just have those talks and those spending time with each other. And again, people, when they are, especially we're ministers in the way, and people actually look at your house when you're outside. How's your house looking? In other words, if you up there ministering the word, and then I have my wife on the front row because I'm speaking somewhere, and then she looking all sour, people are looking at her to see how her facial expression is when I'm giving the word. So you want to make sure you check yourself from the head to your feet. You want to actually examine yourself. So when it comes to family, I examine myself, and I want to actually not only be a sayer, I want to be a doer. So when it comes to family, they're my everything. Yah is my head, the Most High, But after then, it's my wife and my kids, my family, they're my everything. So family to me is very important. And when she came into my family on my side, she seen that too. We were a big loving family. May have disagreements, may have arguments, but at the end of the day, we're gonna get it right and we're gonna get it together, because a lot of times family is the only one that you can really rely and trust.
Yeah. When my what I wished I'd known. Now I have to admit, I come from a family where I had my biological dad, and I had a bonus father, and then I had family members that even came in my bonus, with my bonus father, who to this day treat me as though there is no difference. And so I'm very honored. I love, my entire family. I don't get to see them often. Over the years you raise your family, but one thing that I really, really had to, and we're going to get to the marriage part of that, is when you first get married. And it wasn't a problem for me per se, because my husband was that bridge. He was that person who knew how to deal with his family when we got married, and I had to deal with mine. And so there were boundaries that needed to be created. And there were a few who had a hard time respecting boundaries. We had to help them respect boundaries. And then there were those who they just blended in and became a part of what we were doing. Yes, I do remember having a talk with one of his family members, letting them know, hey, I'm his wife. He still needs you. He still needs, you to be a part of his life. I don't come in and everybody gets erased. I can't take everybody's place. I don't want to. So what I did was I joined in with his family, and I was blessed to be a part, and still am blessed to be a part of his family. And I know with mine, he connected with mine. He clicked with mine. He lost his dad about 2 years ago. Yeah. Is it 2 or 3 years now?
Yeah.
I think it's 3 now.
Yeah, 20. I think it was back in 23.
Yeah, for him. And then my dad just passed away. I think it's in October, end of October, November-ish. He passed away. And so, amazingly, when my dad was going through, right, maybe a year or so before, we would go see him because my dad had dementia. So he really got to the point he didn't really recognize me until he came along. When he would come, then he recognized me. But they say you kind of marry your dad. He had a lot of my dad's mannerisms and his voice and the way that he moved and, talked or what have you. But my dad was a good man, and I loved him. Everybody have their flaws. So, but he was good to me. Put it like this. He helped raise a girl who did not worry about self-confidence and things of that sort. He and my bonus dad did, kudos to them, did an awesome job. My mom, she was a very strong, she's still here, but she was a very strong person. And because of that personality, I learned a lot. So in my first year, I tell anybody, learn those boundaries with your family, your other part of your family. Just because you're married doesn't mean you don't need them. But I will say this, I got to be honest. You still got to watch out for toxic people, and you got to know what to do with them, because some are assigned to try to destroy your marriage. Some are assigned to they're trying to fight their way into your marriage, when marriage is really 3: you, him, you, the person, your bride or your groom, and then the Most High, because He created marriage. If you allow Him to be a part. But you have to protect your marriage, and you both have to be willing to be in the fight for your marriage. And instead of fighting each other, you two are fighting against what is trying to invade in your marriage. But I would just say this, here again, this is our experience. I know there's so many other factors that come into play. My thing is what we always tell couples when we are consulting. Your safety comes first. Your health comes first. So you've got to make sure that you're in a safe situation, a safe, environment, and that you're just in a healthy situation altogether. And so those are the things that we did know and we did learn. And I think because of that, having those boundaries, everybody knowing where they belong, and nobody trying. We didn't have anybody trying to. Well, we had one person, but like I said, that I had to handle that. But we pretty much had a very, I think, accepting and family oriented type integration with our families. So we were blessed in that respect. Because one thing I can say off top, my husband set the tone for basically everything, and because he knew how to manage everything, everybody per se, we didn't really have those issues. He stood up for me when it needed to be, and everybody understood that, and vice versa. But but that didn't have to happen often. We still had compassion with our family. We know it was a change for them with us getting married. And so I think if I had to do it again, I would not change what we did with that dynamics of the family. Would you say the same thing?
Yeah, I feel that we work together to get where we are at today, which I am so much pleased. Because I want to highly encourage couples that are just walking into marriages. Just like my wife was saying, you got to let everyone know their place. You got to understand some guys are mama's boys. Some guys are close with their family. Vice versa with the female. But you got to let them know at the end of the day that is your spouse. And you don't let anyone disrespect your spouse in any way.
Not even yourself.
Yeah, that's right. You got to set the boundaries. You treat that person like if you have a child, such as myself, I wouldn't want nobody treating my daughter disrespectful. I'm going to have a problem with that. So I look at it as this is someone else's child, so I can't disrespect her. So it's good to actually work together so you can learn how to continue to love each other the way that they want to be loved. Not only the way they want to be loved, but the way that the Most High had put it for us to love our spouse.
Absolutely.
We said, husband, love your wives. So, she could let you know, this girl right here, I love her. You know what I'm saying? I don't love her. I love her. I love her. So we actually been married longer than we've been single. So it's just like we grew up together. So I just highly encourage people, don't put others in your marriage and relationship. Because at the end of the day, when you two as spouses make up, you got other family members mad at your spouse, and they hating, they disrespectful because they still thinking about what you share with them. So learn to confide in each other. Learn to grow in each other, that you can actually work out differences instead of trying to share it outside of your household, because people are not going to understand the way y'all move as husband and wives. So I highly suggest men, you got to let mom go. And when I say let them go, not to not love them, you got to love your mom, your spouse, because the Bible tells us to honor thy father and thy mother. We have to, but we have to also put them in their place. That I love you as my mother, I love you as my father, but hey, this is my wife. I have to actually establish that relationship. And with that being said, I have to establish boundaries for this relationship. So this is something that you all need to actually know. I can honestly say that I didn't have any problems that I can think of with my family. Doing something like that. If anything, my dad, when we was dating, he even said, before we even thought about marriage, my dad was like, yo, that's going to be my daughter-in-law. And we weren't even thinking about marriage. We was like, yo, she had her plans on what she was going to do. I had my plans on what I was going to do. And it didn't have anything to do with us getting married a year after we graduated high school. But at the end of the day, I don't regret it. I love her with all my heart. I love my parents and my family. Again, my dad is going on, but I love them for supporting us, for being there for us, even in the midst of us being young, not knowing what to do or how to do it, but we just had to feel our way through it. I thank them. I mean, words can't explain. They was right there. You know what I'm saying? So that means a lot to me, and I'm forever grateful for that. And I would just say, just set those boundaries when it comes to family. Set the boundaries and operate with it by the word. That's the only way it's going to work. You can't bring out your own playbook. You got to go by the original manual that actually tells you and talk to you how to love each other. You know, and move forward, and not just look at the manual, but live the manual.
That's right.
You know, so that's my spiel on family.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna add this last part. I do agree, and I'll tell wives, you know, you do have a place in your husband's life, and don't abuse it though. When I say don't abuse it, I mean it's not a power play. You already have your husband. You're already married to them, and yeah, there's sometimes you may get a mother-in-law who is overboard or whatever, but you got to have that conversation with your husband. But these are things that you should definitely be finding out before you marry them, because a man will tell you straight up that my mama come first. And if that mother is going to come first like that, and see, the thing with me is I wasn't worried about his mother coming first. I just knew his mother needed to have a place, because there's a place sometimes the wife cannot go. Sometimes they want their parents. They want to go back to mom. They want to go back to dad and just hear them and talk to them. Same way that I would have never wanted anybody to cut me off or want me to cut off my mom and my dad, or my bonus father, because they felt threatened or some kind of way. Now again, guys, we're not talking about a violent situation. That was not our story. We're talking about just your everyday normal situation of dealing with a new family. Because if you think of it like this, it's not that's his family, this is my family. No, it's our family now. He has an aunt right now who people ask, well, who is your, like, who are you? She go, oh, well, this is my brother's son, but you know, nobody really knows that she's the one who married in. They just think we all grouped in. But again, I'm thankful for what, you know, the years. I'm thankful that year one, it was a blessed year. My sister-in-law has gone on, and she was like my sister, and I miss her dearly. But she was a blessing to me as well. And when I saw that she wanted her brother's attention, I made sure that she got it, because she still wanted her brother. She wanted time with him, but she always respected me. So I think the thing is love and respect. Yeah. Everybody respect everybody. And I don't think that there will be too much of an issue. But like he said, go back to the book. Go back to the word. It'll tell you how to deal with all of that. So our next one, I think, is finances.
Finances. From my experience, and I let my wife actually talk about how she feel. I feel if you're going to be married, you should actually work together. My thing is, even down to the finances, we have joint accounts. You know, you have to work together in order for the marriage to work, because she can't be on one end of the house and me being on the other end, and we say we married, because you just married on paper. You know, you're not actually married spiritually. So you have to learn to trust each other. You have to learn to work together. You have to learn to actually make things work. You know, put things out on paper. I can honestly say my wife she works with numbers a lot. So she's great for us dealing with the finances. I know before I came to the way, money, if I seen it, I want it, I'm getting it. You know what I'm saying? I actually got what I money wasn't, you know, I put it like this. I was blessed growing up. So my father and mother, they thought that I wanted it, I got it, and I took that into my marriage. But I had to learn I couldn't actually do that about me, because I'm not married to me. I'm married to my wife. So we had to actually put things on paper to work together to make things work. So I highly suggest, because if you don't, you actually playing tug of war, and each one of you at the end of the ropes on the other side, and you're pulling against each other. So you want to make sure at the end of the day, when it comes to finances, that you all are on the same page and one person not thinking one way and doing one thing one way and then the other one the opposite. Make sure everything, as it says, done decently and in order. So at the end of the day, most of your relationships are not arguments being argued over finances.
Right.
Because the number one things that actually will mess a marriage up is finances and unfaithfulness. Those are the two things that can destroy a marriage. For a lot of people who actually have separated, ask them why. And I guarantee you that it's probably those two, one of those two.
And for me with finances, I grew up with a mom who somehow she made it happen. Whatever the need was, she always found a way to come through. One thing that I would recommend that I wish we probably would have done in our first year is gone through financial counseling. Because finances are a huge part of a marriage as well. And simply because you're talking about being prepared to buy homes, you're talking about being prepared for investments, you're talking about retirement and things of that sort. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody you ought to do things this way. People have different aspirations. I have a career. I've had a career. I grew into my career as married. I didn't have a college degree before we got married. So I did a lot of things, turning 19. We did a lot of things inside of our marriage as far as careers and building finances and things of that sort. So I would tell anybody I would tell you right now, if you don't have a good relationship with money, you need to go and have financial counseling done. Simply because there is going to come a time where you may not be able to work. You may need a savings. You will need things. And oftentimes I see people wanting to, they didn't save. They weren't very smart about saving. So they're in need now. So they want people to give them money. They need other people to help them out. And no doubt some will, but while you are able-bodied, and you don't have a good relationship with finances, go and get financial help. Go get counseling. But for us, I brought into the marriage a little of my understanding of finances and just never wanting to walk in a place of lack and deficiency. And so we didn't necessarily fight over money, but we had to have many discussions about money. And I think over time, he always trusted me with finances. But he always knew that, he do what he do, and I'm going to make sure everything is taken care of. We have our little financial meetings still, and now we are in a place that we're preparing for retirement. And so in the next few years, we are ready to hang it up.
Yes.
And work for ourselves if we want to even work. But the bottom line is this. We knew we wanted to retire. We had to put both hands on deck. And there has to come a time where you have gotten all you need. I think capitalism is this thing where we want more and more and more, or the best of, and you can't keep up with everything. The phone changes every year. If you're always trying to get a new phone, look at Apple is happy, or whoever your phone company is, but at some point you got to invest in yourself. So go get some financial counseling if you guys are not on the same page, or things aren't where you sit down and be realistic. Be honest with yourself, which we're going to get to that in our future self and present. Be honest with yourself where you are. Look at write the vision, make it plain. Decide what you guys want it to look like and start moving towards that. Sometimes you really do have to discipline yourself and tell yourself, no, wait, or this is unnecessary. We've done this before. We don't need to go back down this road again. So with finances, yes, it is very much important part of before the first year. You really get to see how people's relationship is with money when you're dating them, And so those are definitely things that don't shy away and say it'll get better, or I'm not worried about that, we'll work it out. No, I'm telling you, the first time you decide you want to get real about it, want to buy a home and realize somebody's credit is too bad, yours too bad, or you don't make enough money, or it will become real then. So you want to deal with that beforehand.
I highly suggest just me. I know other couples are gonna have their own opinion, but I don't suggest people invest a lot in a ring when they first get married or a wedding when they first get married. Not saying not to buy a ring. I do say buy a ring. All right, for your marriage. Yeah, if that's what you choose, buy a ring. Do have a wedding, but don't try to have a wedding for the whole U.S.
The wedding of the century.
Yeah, because a lot of people get caught up in those things, but they haven't had the relationship down. They get caught up in this is my big day, and I'm not trying to be a spoiler, but you're not doing nothing but entertaining these people. It's work after you say I do. This is what you need to be doing. When we got married, and I bless y'all that we was on the same page. We didn't want a actual wedding. We was going back then. You would go to South Carolina, go before the Justice of Peace, and you actually say I do. They give you your marriage license. Boom, boom, boom. No, my mom wanted to actually throw a wedding because I was one of the first of her children actually. That was getting married, and she said, "No, I wanted to do this. I want to do this. You're my first child getting married." I said, "Okay, but we ain't. If you look for us to pay for something,
it was her wedding.
Yeah,
it was hers.
We not doing this because we got to live after. Everybody go home full, but we still struggling at the end. But I thank y'all that we actually were on the same page. Years after we were married, we were able to go and do things such as like the honeymoon, travel, everything like that. But I didn't put that in the forefront, and she had the same mindset because we had to live. And I wasn't worried about, now if you got it like that, hey, that's good. But back then, I was 18, she was 19, when we got married, we was fresh out of high school.
Let's be honest, we didn't care about that kind of stuff.
No,
to be honest, we did. Now, there are some women who are groomed, from church. I wasn't that person, okay? I didn't dream about a wedding and it being all about me, and I ain't care about that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna be very honest with you. Women, if that's your cup of tea, then enjoy. Do whatever it is you feel like you want to do, or what have you. But for us, I didn't care about that. And if you ask me today about a wedding, I still don't care about having a wedding like that. And yeah, we did have one, but it still was not something that I desired to, that's just not me.
That wedding was very simple, and it was actually not. It was for us, but it's not something that we said we wanted.
We showed up, because she wanted a, and I can understand that, y'all. And this is one of those things. Sometimes doing what somebody else wants you to do doesn't really hurt, because this is really something that even to now we have these wedding albums, we have the wedding videos, and we can leave those things for our children. I think they've seen those videos. And then you look back at those videos, and those are there are a lot of loved ones in there who are no longer with us. Yeah. And so but here again, like I said, that wedding was for his mother. When I say for his mother, it is something that she wanted. And I get it. It hurt me not at all to say, okay, well, if that's what she wants, we'll do it. Now, do we appreciate it? We do. So we don't want to see it like we just, we appreciate her and his dad, but her wanting to feel what she was passionate about in her heart. And so we say thank you. And I think once she had her wedding, she was just, she was just as happy about it. It was memorable for her and us, and we're thankful for it. But here again, it's one of those things where if you can't have a wedding, it's really not about the wedding ceremony. It is more so to me about you and him coming together, joining together, with the officiant or whoever it is. There are different ways that people do things. I know when you start talking about faith and mixing in, how people get married in the ceremonies and things of that sort. But at the end of the day, We had our wedding. It wasn't something that we planned for, but his mother really wanted it, and we pray that she was overjoyed with it. And I believe everybody that came, they enjoyed themselves. Yeah. We enjoyed ourselves, and so we are thankful for that. So our last one, guys, is that future self while standing in the present. And leading up to one thing that I have always brought into the marriage with us is that I had to always check myself. I have to always make sure that I am pleasant as a wife, and that I am not just thinking of myself, and I think we'll probably do it in another video. But, one of the major things is learning forgiveness and really thinking about the baggage that you're going to bring into the marriage. Do you have baggage that you're bringing into the marriage? Are there issues that you really need to deal with before you get married? And I'm going to be honest, don't, whether you see it in your soon-to-be spouse or it's in you, don't ignore it. Do not ignore the red flags. Do not ignore all those things that could potentially cause you problems in your marriage, because marriage doesn't fix issues that's going on before marriage. All it does is it magnifies it, because like I told, we tell couples all the time, marriage has a spirit with it. You may have lived with someone, and let's just be honest, not everybody live separately and then get married and come together. You got some folk that are living together, and then when they get married, they realize, oh, what happened? Marriage has a spirit within itself, and the word talks about marriage. And so, marrying someone that have issues, marriage is not going to fix that. You getting married with issues that you have, marriage is not going to fix that. So you have to be honest with your present self before you get married, and then your future self, because the idea is that you want to grow together. You want to be healthy. You want to have healthy communication. You want to be honest with each other, and don't ignore the red flags is what I would definitely tell you guys to say. Tell you guys, and even in our thinking back in our first year, wedded bliss and you just happy and all those things, but you cannot ignore those red flags. What is your marriage going to be based on? What is the foundation going to be like? What are you setting for? What are the what they call them, the no goes, or even the that's not the word I'm looking for, the deal breakers. Find out those things before you get married, and be honest with yourself. Do not fall in love with the idea of getting married, and then when you get married and that's been accomplished, then you feel like what in the world is going on?
Yeah. My future self, as I have grown more into the word and following the way, I just want to grow deeper in his word, to get more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because it'll only help me to help myself and to be a better spouse, a better father, better son, better uncle, to a better family member, nephew, all, to my family. The sky's the limit when we walk in that word, because that word is actually shaping the foundation of our life. And we only have that one life, because once it's gone, just like my wife said, many who actually were in the pictures of our wedding, a lot of them are gone on. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to have any regrets. So I'm big on making sure I follow the way. I want to learn more of the way. For a lot of people say, what are you talking about the way? The Bible says that I am the way, the truth, and the light. That's who I'm a follower of. I'm not a Christian. Let me go ahead and put it like this, because Christianity, and I know that this is not a religious thing, but Christianity was made up by man. So I don't want my hands in none of that. I am a follower of the way, as Paul said. I'm a part of the sect called the way. And that's who I live. That's what I live by. So I just want to grow deeper in the Most High, because I know once I do that, everything else will fall in place. So my future self is wanting to be a better me, to be in the word deeper, to follow what Yahweh is actually telling me to do as a man, as a husband, as a father, son, nephew, cousin, whatever title I have, that I can be better to not only, but it allow me to pour life into others, not only my family members, but into other people that Yahweh put in my path to speak life into.
And just to add to that, and I know we're about to close, you had brought up, the Christianity and the way we grew up as in Christianity, which is a doctrine that have some of the Bible in it, which is why they use some of the Bible, but this is the thing when there's a different teaching, whether people want to accept it or not. There is a difference between what the Bible says as far as how we are to live versus what we have all learned or been taught in Christianity under this doctrine. So there is a difference between Christianity and the way. Okay, Christianity has its own holidays and things that it like to recognize, whereas with the way we still do the biblical feast and honor the Most High in the way that we know how. And John 14 is where it talks about when he told them that he was the way, the truth, and the life. So that is where the way comes from. Just in case you go, wait a minute, where does he get? This is nothing new. The way was here. Apostle Paul even identified himself as being a member of the sect called the Way when they asked him who was he. And so modern Christianity is something different than what the Bible tells us, and you can go find that out if you go and ask for a particular doctrine, such as you ask me what happened to you when you leave this earth, and you get people say, well, you're going to go to heaven, and the Bible says something different. And so my thing is, just make sure you go and study your Bible and learn about the Most High according to the Word, according to what the Bible actually says, and test everything. But for us, as we have evolved in these 36 years, that is where we have landed. This is where we are, and this is what the driving force is for us in our life. And I've never experienced as much joy as I have. I thought I was joyous before, but the peace and the joy that surpasses all understanding is amazing. And we're going to talk even about, the pastoral season that you were in, and later on, and talk about, where we are in our season now. We have a True Word Life podcast. That's our other YouTube, but it's True Word Life podcast. And what we do is we talk about the Bible, and we talk about, where we have come from and what changed. Like, what was our road to Damascus experience to realize, light bulb, something's off with doctrine versus what the Bible is saying. Some of you know what we're talking about if you've been there. But hey, we don't. One thing about it, everybody got to work out their own soul salvation with fear and trembling. So we are just believers of the Bible, which is supposed to lead us as a wheat to the Father. And that is what we are living our life for. So we hope that this was informative for you. Please know we are not in any way encouraging you guys to use our YouTube. This is for informational purposes only. So please do not say, well, they told me to do X, Y, Z. No, this is for informational purposes only. And the title is What We Wish We Knew and Understood in Year 1. And to be honest, probably before year 1, but in year 1, but we have been blessed to be in year 36, going on 37. Guys, we have been through some joy, some pain. One of our episodes in our series is going to be about a difficult season that we had to endure in our life. And so for those of you out there who are following us, please make sure you like, you subscribe, you share, you comment. Please do so. Share us with this. Helps our channel to grow, because we do want to be an encouragement to those who are out there who need encouragement. We came through a very dark season with the loss of our son, who was 3 years old at the time. And we know that is something that where many marriages, they fall apart. but how did we overcome? How did we make it through that season? How did we make it through that storm? And we've had other things to happen since then, that we have it's just called life. Yeah. Life was lifing. Yeah. And so please make sure you stick with us, that you share us if you would like, our YouTube. And we are so thankful that you guys took the time to stop by and hang out with us for a little while.
Yes, thank you so much for tuning in. The best is yet to come. Mm-hmm. As my wife said, we have some more topics that we just like to, throw out there. And again, this is our life experience. Mm-hmm. These are things that we learn along the way. Again, we both are counselors, and we do counsel. We have our coaching, counseling business that actually we are have going, and we're putting up and everything. Mm-hmm. So we are big in trying to help others overcome some obstacles that they had along the way also. Mm-hmm. So again, tell a neighbor, tell a friend, tell your enemy. Go ahead and like, subscribe, share our channel, and we will have some more awesome topics and series to actually share with you all. So thank you for tuning in.
Don't forget to comment if there's something that you got a question about, something you don't understand, something you would like to ask a little bit more about. Please leave us a respectful comment, okay? Because we in this thing called life, trying to learn and help those who we can, pass along some knowledge, some understanding, wisdom, and prayerful that you get revelation. And so please make sure you hang in there with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you
for everything, and you all take care. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us with Them Browns, living life for y'all. Take care now.